Welcome to The Herbal Ire, your podcast on all things holistic health, medical astrology, spirituality, herbalism, and so much more. Presented by your host, Ire Atla, medical astrologist, herbalist, and naturopath. Let's dive right into today's topic, love and light. Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Herbal Ire. I'm your host, Ire Atla, and today is a bittersweet episode, y'all. We are going to be talking about Pisces, which is the last sign of the Zodiac. So this means that our Medical Astrology 101 series on the signs will be finished. But good news is this means that we will be moving into the planets next. Woohoo! So do not worry, more good stuff is coming, but this is just a bittersweet time because I've had so much fun detailing all of these signs for you, and I hope that you have enjoyed it too. I've gotten a decent amount of feedback from some of you telling me how helpful it has been and how much you really have enjoyed it and you like it. So thank you for that. That makes my heart happy and makes me know that what I am doing is making a difference and, gives me the gumption to keep going. Because sometimes when you feel like you're just talking to yourself and you don't hear anything from anybody, you really truly start believing that you really are just talking to yourself, and it gets a bit discouraging. So thank you for the encouragement. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. So let's dive into Pisces today. So it may be the last sign, right? But it is certainly not the least of the zodiac signs. This sign is a powerhouse, y'all, and has many wonderful natives that call it their sun, moon, or rising sign. My spouse and my youngest daughter call it their moon sign. This is the most intuitive sign of the zodiac and is home to many who can astral travel, talk to spirits and entities, communicate with other realms, see things that some of us will never be able to see, all that kind of stuff, right? They live in the psychic and spiritual realm in a way that the rest of us probably never will. So let's dive in, shall we? So our journey through the zodiac is complete. This has been a journey of enlightenment and also of life, right? The zodiac looks at the ultimate purpose that is life, and that ends in Pisces. So it started in Aries with the spark of our consciousness, right? Then it was transformed through every level of our being, from the development of ourself, our bodies, our emotions, our mind, our relationships, our work, our destinies, and our contribution to humanity, which is what Aquarius was all about in the last episode, right? So what is the purpose of life then, right? And what does this all mean and lead to? This has all been leading up to basically what our true purpose is as human beings on the earth. Pisces is really where it all ends. It's where we leave all of our concerns and our cares and demands of the physical world that is being placed on us, and we enter an expression of pure consciousness, where we are 100% focused on consciousness itself and not the physical realm that we live in, right? With Pisces, none of what we have learned with the previous 11 signs matters, at all. Not at all. These are just illusions that are used to distract us from what our real life purpose is. And that purpose is awareness, consciousness, and our alignment and union with Source, Creator, our God, whatever you call it, right? Universe. So we have come full circle from the beginning of our birth here on Earth, and now we're back to our Creator, our life source, the universe, and where we came from, right? We all came from the cosmos, and so now we've reached back to where we have gotten through our life journey, and now we're ready to go back to the cosmos, right? So this just really explains how awesome Pisces really is, because they have such a connection to that unconsciousness, that other world, that realm that we all started in, and then chose a human body and a family and came back down here to take another trip around the sun, right? Because we wanted to continue to learn and to grow and to gain knowledge. And now we're back to the beginning where we're ready to go back. So the 12 signs is really a journey of our lives, right? From the time we're born to the time that we die, and we become pure consciousness and return back to, just energy and go back up into wherever you you believe that that is. I believe it's back out to the universe. We go back up to the cosmos where we came from, and we hang out and we wait for another time and place that's perfect for the next lessons that we want to learn, right? To fulfill our karma that we brought out from the previous time around. And so this is where Pisces really lives, right? They live in that like unconscious realm, the universe, cosmos, source, whatever you want to consider it. And so they come across to many people very like flighty, ethereal, mystic, not really here, but not really there either. And so they're very misunderstood, let's say that, by a lot of people in how they present. And so people feel that they're flighty and stuff when they're really not. They're just living in a plane that none of the rest of us can access, right? So the glyph for Pisces is often confused with Gemini because it's very similar if you don't know the glyphs well, right? So in Pisces, we see two like parentheses with the curved sides facing each other, and there's a horizontal line through the middle. Whereas with Gemini, we have two straight lines with a horizontal line on top and bottom. But when you're first learning the glyphs, they do look similar, and so when you're looking through your chart to see where your Pisces is and where your Gemini is, it's easy to get them confused sometimes. So just know that Pisces has only one horizontal line through the middle of two curved parenthesis looking lines. So what is Pisces represented by? Pisces is represented by the fish. In fact, it's a symbol of two fish, to be exact, with their tails tied together and they're swimming in different directions. One is going upstream, one is going downstream. Which, if you are a native Pisces or you know a native Pisces, you know how fitting this truly is, right? They live with that constant tension in their lives between the soul and the personality. The ultimate goal here is to become servant to the soul and not get stuck in the demands of like our personas. So it's a harmonizing of opposites, right? That's what they're really striving for. Pisces also represents the ocean, which in turn symbolizes the boundless depths of life itself. Remember from Aquarius, right, that we can think of the water element as being the bringer of life. It falls from the sky and brings the fire and air elements down into the earth. So this in turn allows the physical world to be infused with feeling, with depth, with spirit, right? Water is truly what binds all of life together. According to Carl Jung, the ocean is a symbol of the collective consciousness, and Pisces is very, very deeply connected to this consciousness. And in turn, they're really connected to the collective as well. They feel what the collective is feeling before the collective knows they're going to be feeling it, if that makes sense. Like they know what's coming in a way, even if they don't know that they know that something's coming. If that makes sense. Pisces they just know things and it's hard for them to explain anything, So Pisces is the mode now, right? Let's get into the mode. Pisces is a mutable sign, and in this case it's a mutable water sign. So in this case, it's similar to like steam, the part of the waters of the earth that evaporate up into the air and the ether and then diffuses out, right? This mutability in a water sign leads to Pisces being an extremely sensitive person in nature. And that's not a bad thing, but just know that that is very true. Pisces are extremely sensitive in many ways, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the things mentally. They feel things on a level that we will never get. So many native Pisceans, especially when they're in their low expression, they have really poorly defined boundaries of self and non-self, because it's really hard sometimes for them to determine where their self starts and ends and where the collective consciousness starts and ends, right? Because they're living so well between these two worlds that they don't even know for themselves sometimes. Pisces rules the late winter in the Northern Hemisphere from February 19th to March 20th. So this late winter placement is actually what leads to much of Pisces health concerns and problems that I see when I have clients with a strong Pisces presence or native Pisces, right? The vital force here is moving through the earth out of hibernation and attempting to turn winter into spring. But as we all know, winter into spring is the time of year that leads to so much like wishy-washy, flippy-floppy weather. It's really hard, a really hard time sometimes, because like One day you'll have like a nice warm day and there's lots of sun and the snow starts melting, and then like the next day you have a blizzard again, right? And it's like all over the map as to whether we're actually getting spring weather or if we're still stuck in winter. And that's very much how Pisces vital force behaves as well. It's very wishy-washy, flippy-floppy. It doesn't know whether yes we're well or no we're sick or no we're, all over the place. Because of that wishy-washy vital force, a lot of their health problems tend to come from the fact that their wishy-washy vital force doesn't infuse all of the places that it needs to in a nice even manner. So the weather during this time, right, it just really cannot make up its mind, and it cannot in a very reliable way seem to really get to the next season without a lot of work on its part. And again, very similar to Pisces and their vital force, right? It's very wishy-washy and it has a hard time mounting the appropriate responses when needed. The key word here for Pisces is I believe. Pisces is not concerned with knowledge because it understands its limitations, right? In this keyword here, we see that Pisces really embodies the qualities of belief, faith, and trust in a higher power. Don't get this confused with religion, right? It's not a religion. It's just a knowing that they have that there is something out there that's greater than them, and they're okay with that. They don't know what it is. They don't honestly even care what it is. They just know that it's there, and that's enough for them, right? Whereas Aquarius is really caught up with like obtaining knowledge and then being able to use that knowledge to help the collective. Pisces is just like, well, I have this knowledge, I'm good with that, and it works for me. They don't care if anybody else also believes the same stuff. So they're very, very independent thinkers and believers of their own stuff, right? They're not easily persuaded to follow someone else's line of thinking if it doesn't line up with what they just know deep inside. So the element, as we've already mentioned, water, in case you hadn't caught that yet. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's the very last water sign as well. And due to this fact, it really embodies that highly sensitive nature and is very attuned into like the feeling sense, right? Like we have the five senses. It's feel, taste, touch, smell, and sense. What's the other one? Feel, taste, touch, smell. Hoy. I don't remember now. My mind just went blank. Anyways, we have the five senses. Pisces is really attuned into the feeling one, right? Cancer, when we're talking about the water signs, Cancer is more emotionally sensitive and concerned about themselves and their emotions and their feelings about anything and everything. Whereas Scorpio is more concerned with others and like getting really deep down into their souls and like diving deep into what makes them who they are and how their psyche works and what their shadow side is and eradicating that, right? Having them become really congruent with their shadow side, embracing their shadow side and learning to love that dark side of themselves. Pisces, on the other hand, it just really expresses itself as very sensitive to the other world, the spiritual realm and that reality, right? And so it's a wonderful sign with so many wonderful qualities, but again, they come across to some people as like wishy-washy, kind of ethereal, just floating around in their own reality, which in many cases they really kind of are. They really live in that realm that the rest of us can't really get to easily or ever, So the ruler. Here we see Pisces having a dual rulership as well, similar to Aquarius and Scorpio. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter from ancient astrology times and Neptune in the more modern astrology times. And you can really see the wonderful qualities of each of those planets reflected in Pisces, right? Jupiter is the jovial giant planet. It's a gaseous planet. It's always expanding and wanting to learn more and more and more. It believes that you can never have too much of a good thing. Too much of a good thing is a good thing in Jupiter's case. And I see this in native Pisces. They are quite jovial people. They're constantly striving to better themselves through learning more and more. Understanding more and more might be the better way of saying that. And they would really be perpetual students if they could, but of things that interest them and that align with their beliefs. They're not interested in going out and picking up knowledge just for the sake of knowledge. They want it to help better themselves and help them really like have a foundation to their beliefs, right? Um, so I see that, right, the Jupiter correspondence, and then I see the correspondence with Neptune quite clearly as well here, because Neptune is like a really mysterious planet, because we didn't discover it at the same time as the others, so there's not as much known about it. Now, obviously, at these modern times, we know a lot more about it than they did back when medical astrology was made, but it still is a pretty mysterious planet. And in medical astrology, we really call it the great dissolver, because it likes to diffuse energy and take it away from the areas that really seem to need it the most, which is, always like, really. Um, and so because of that, it has like a great mysterious energy about it as well, because you never really know where Neptune's influence is going to show up in someone's body. And we see that reflected in Pisces. Native Pisces tend to live up in the clouds of the mind. They lose energy quickly for things that are not important to them. They give off an air of mysteriousness, as many are lost in the spiritual realm, and they're not always 100% present here in the physical realm. They're enjoying their lives up in the spiritual realm, and they're really not concerned if anybody down here understands them or gives a fuck about the same things at all. Like they're 100% caught up in their own way of doing things, and that's great, let me tell you. So Pisces itself rules several things. It rules the feet, mainly, and it co-rules the lymphatic/immune system with its polar sign Virgo, and it also rules the psyche. Now, many mental health issues are connected in some way to Pisces, and those natives with Pisces moons are more susceptible than sun and rising signs of Pisces, right? And also the moon in general also rules over mental health issues. And so when you put the Pisces in a moon placement, it can really exacerbate some of that. I also see Pisces kind of ruling over the quality of the blood, not the actual blood itself, but the quality of the blood, meaning the part that is really dependent on the lymphatic system's ability to like clean it out, right? So things go into the lymphatic system, like waste products and stuff, to like filter through there and get that toxins and metabolic waste products that haven't been excreted any other way and get them out of the blood, right? And get that blood back to the quality that your body needs to function at its best. And so I really see Pisces doing that. Pisces has a strong correspondence to like keeping the body clear of toxins and things like that, but then struggles with it at the same time. So it's kind of a like weird thing that happens with Pisces, right? So in their high expression, so as you can see, and you've probably heard already, Pisces is the most spiritual of the zodiac signs. They have an innate connection and relationship with the unseen realms and worlds, and to source, universe, creator, whatever you call it, right? In their high expression, they really come across as like visionaries, imaginative individuals. They're very dreamy. They have this mystical personality that like draws people into them, but that can ultimately lead to them losing confidence in themselves. Many are really naturally gifted in the arts and like creativity of some sort, right? Especially in music. You will see a lot of musicians that have a strong Pisces in their chart, a strong Pisces influence, especially ones that write a lot of like the dramatic songs that are really speaking to the emotions and really elicit an emotional response. Like think Adele's songs, right? Every song she sings makes you want to like sob your eyes out, no matter what it is that she's singing about. They all sound really melancholy and they evoke emotional response, right? I have no idea what Adele's chart looks like. She may have a strong Pisces, she may not, but just think of that type of emotional response. Pisces are very in tune with the musical world and the emotions that they can elicit from using music to communicate their own emotions and how they feel about things. Music really speaks to our souls, right? And our spirit. It helps us release emotions we have pent up inside. It helps us handle things. It can bring us joy and make us, dance and sing and enjoy life, or it can help us deal with stuff that we've been trying to ignore, that our bodies keep reminding us that if we continue to ignore it, we're going to continue to feel like shit, right? And so music is just a really, really great way for Pisces to have the ability to really communicate the spiritual world that they're living into the physical world and other people that live in the physical realm, right? And it creates harmony and beauty ultimately. So that's one of the ways that you'll see that Pisces helps themselves and others really connect that spiritual and physical realms. They are extremely compassionate, kind, empathetic, and sensitive individuals. And this is such an amazing gift to have, which I know we hear so often that being sensitive in this world is how you wind up hurt, right? And you need to be hardened and all that. But it is truly a gift, is a true gift to be able to feel so much like they do and still be kind, loving, and empathetic towards others. It is a gift to be able to always see the best in people, to reach for kindness instead of hate, and to reach for understanding instead of, misunderstanding, and to embrace just understanding everybody and being really empathetic to what's going on in their lives. It truly is. And we need more people like that in the world, and things would start changing for the better. So we could really all learn to be a bit more like our Pisces friends and family members. They have the ability to really feel very deeply and actually truly experience other people's thoughts and feelings. Like they just know, again, they just have this knowing, right? They're excellent healers because of this, especially for things that are like energy, spiritual, or like otherworldly afflictions, right? So they tend to be really good at like Reiki. They tend to be energy healers of some sort. They tend to work in the body in some way on some kind of like energetic or spiritual level to enact healing. Unfortunately, they are excellent healers, but they again tend toward not having the best boundaries sometimes. So they tend to want to help others so much so they end up burning themselves out because they forget to make time for themselves to recharge. And recharging is 1,000% imperative for a Pisces. They are so sensitive to other people's energies and vibes and picking up on what people are feeling, their emotions, that being around people for any length of time is very draining to them, very draining. And so these are people who, in certain workplaces, they're sick all the time, mentally, physically sick, exhausted. They can't like stand being there. They cry about having to go to work every day because it's so bad. They're the ones who call in sick for mental health days constantly because like there's something in that workplace that's like toxic for them, right? And it might just be an energy vibe. They just might not vibe with people well, and that causes that. And so they really pick up on that, and they need to go home and really like take time to themselves and recharge, right? And get away from that. Pisces actually do best working for themselves, where they don't have to be around a lot of other people or only around the people they choose to be around, and making time at the end of the day for them to recharge. And that can look like so many different things. But for a lot of Pisces, it means like locking themselves in a room by themselves, eating their favorite foods, watching some TV or something, and just resting. Sleep is a huge Pisces self-care thing because Pisces is a very sleepy sign and needs the most sleep of the zodiac signs, like the most sleep. And by that, I mean like they need 10 to 12 plus hours of sleep a night. And without that, you get a very cranky Pisces who's even more sensitive than usual, who everything upsets. And if they're in their low expression, you're going to get a very nasty person who is constantly like on so much on edge that when something sets them off, they like explode, right? Because they haven't had time to recharge. It's imperative to recharge your batteries as a Pisces. I mean, they're high expression. They also tend to be like highly introspective as well and require lots of personal space and time alone. And this is absolutely necessary for their health and vitality. And without this time, Pisces will find themselves in the often sick cycle where like you finally get better and you may be better for a week or two and then you come down with something else. And for them, it's more of an energy sickness than it is like a true physical sickness, even though they will have physical symptoms, right? But it's more of like a psychosomatic reaction in their body. Their bodies are so drained of energy and holding on to other people's stagnant energy that it just can't function properly anymore, and it lends to psychosomatic, like physical symptoms showing up. And it also lends to mental health problems starting, depression, anxiety. So many Pisces have anxiety, and a lot of times it's not even their anxiety, it's literally somebody else's anxiety that they're holding on to and don't realize it. And so they tend toward a lot of like just that energy being like drained from them to the point that like everything in their body is just struggling. And the low expression, let's talk about that next. All of the above mentioned attributes in the high expression actually turn on them and become their shadow side. Their highly sensitive nature means they take on the emotions, thoughts, feelings, pains of other people, and then truly, truly believe that these are their own pains and their own thoughts and their own feelings, and not even realizing that it actually belongs to someone else and they just need to clear their energy out. They start really identifying with all of these pains and troubles and hurts, and this leads to confusion and inner chaos because like it's incongruent with who they really are, and like their psyche knows this is not really who I am, but it's struggling with the fact that they're like their mind is trying to accept that this is who they are, you know. They really latch on to other people's beliefs about themselves, and really lose that just deep knowing that who they are is great, what they're doing is great, what they believe is fine. Like they just really lose that. In their low expression, Pisces have low willpower, they can be insecure, they lose their sense of self, they really struggle with low self-esteem and inferiority complexes, and they just feel unworthy in general of like anything good in life. So much of their shadow work actually involves finding that inner strength that they all really tend toward and fortifying it. This works best through like meditation, breath work, forest bathing, grounding, flower essences, homeopathy, all that stuff. All the vibrational type remedies and getting back into nature and connecting with the earth and really sitting in that spiritual realm. And meditation, Kundalini meditation is absolutely wonderful for Pisces because it really helps bring them back to who they are. And they just really need to remember who they are on a fundamental level to get out of that low expression, right? Pisces must learn to use that sensitive nature they have for the tool that it is and understand how to open and close doors at will, spiritual doors in the spiritual realm, right? And emotional doors to other people, and direct and channel vast amounts of energies that they're picking up on out of their bodies, especially ones that are not theirs. And if they don't, right, they become overwhelmed, shell shocked, confused, and they seek to escape life and the harsh realities they face. And this unfortunately leads them into drugs, alcohol, and other means of escaping reality that in the end usually turn out to be their demise. Remember how we talked about a lot of musicians have strong Pisces in their charts? Well, unfortunately, how many musicians do we know have turned to drugs and alcohol to deal with things and have wound up having that be their demise? They were trying to escape the realities that they were taking on of other people's. And, you know, unfortunately, not everybody survives addiction, you know. If they don't seek help soon enough, then they just may not make it out of that. And that happens with a lot of native Pisces who struggle in their low expression and never find a way to get out of it. In their low expressions, they also become moody, self-indulgent, and addicted to whatever helps them escape, whatever that is. It doesn't necessarily drugs and alcohol, it could be anything. I've seen Pisces that are addicted to like the health and wellness sector, and they're out doing all of the psychotropic, you know, herbs and stuff because this is going to help them. And they end up using what is normally supposed to be a good experience, right, and a good plant to help you come to some spiritual understanding as an escape from reality instead of using it as it's meant to be used, right? Which is a once in a while thing to help you, come to a better understanding of yourself and what you're here for. They use it as a way to escape reality. So even good things can become an addiction that's not good for Pisces. They, instead of connecting with the universe and spirit as they should, they really put up walls and they seek to hide behind them forever. They numb their emotions and their sensitive nature, and they seek to really deny who they truly are inside. They stop caring about themselves and about others. They neglect their self-care. They forget to eat, shower, shave, spend most of their day sleeping. And remember, this is the sleepiest sign of the zodiac, so boy, can they sleep when they want to. They wallow in self-doubt, there we go, pity, depression, and whatever they can to escape into their inner subjective reality instead of understanding the more objective realities around them. So to get out of this low expression, really leaning into their polar sign of Virgo is of great help, because Virgo is all about having like a plan, right? Following it to a T and taking the steps necessary to get back to where they need to go. So focus on foods and nutrition, because Virgo is all about nutrition, right? They love a good meal plan and a well-balanced meal. Meditation and journaling are also imperative for keeping you in your high expression and pulling you out of the low one, because these help you return to who you really are and understand who you really are and accept who you really are. And see, that's the biggest thing with Pisces. It's not just understanding who you are, it's accepting that this is who you are, and it's okay to be that way. It's okay to be highly sensitive in nature. It's okay to live more in the spiritual realm than the physical one. It's okay to not be able to work at that job anymore that's literally draining you, right? It's okay to be exactly who you are and accept that. So common health concerns that I see here, primarily what I truly see in native Pisceans: low immunity, poor circulation, poor lymphatic drainage and filtering, sleep disorders, psych disorders, and ultimately lots of crazy foot issues that sometimes actually show up further in the body. So they'll start having like some weird problem further up in the body, right? Like some kind of pain, let's say, in their arm. And it turns out that it's actually a reflex action from something happening in the feet. So meaning the root cause is actually a foot issue, but the pain is being reflexed somewhere else into the body. So I see that tending to the feet in Pisces, pedicures, massages, reflexology, acupuncture, all of that stuff is really good at keeping your feet where they need to be so it doesn't reflex to other places. I also see many that suffer from repeat infections over and over and over again. Because remember, when our core vital force is low, our immunity suffers, and our bodies have a really hard time functioning at their best. So I also see issues of too much water in places that it shouldn't be, mainly because the lymphatic and circulatory system really needs some toning and strengthening. They have a lot of like lax tissues in their body. And so one of the main things I focus on with my Pisces natives or my high Pisces energy clients is really toning those tissues up and really helping bring some, of that fluid that's leaking out of the circulatory and lymphatic system and into the tissues back into the lymphatic and circulatory system so it can go through the process it needs to be expelled from the body appropriately. I see many narcolepsy sufferers with this placement of a native Pisces or even a strong Pisces influence. And like I said before, Pisces need 10 to 12 plus hours of sleep a night. And if they do not, they are not able to function at their best. And then that can lead to illness because it decreases their vital force, right? And again, various addictions can be seen here with a native Pisces or a strong Pisces influence, especially if they're stuck in their low expression. Another thing I see here on that highly sensitive nature of Pisces is the highly sensitive nature of their bodies to pharmaceutical medications. These are the ones that have the strangest reactions, that are never what anybody's expecting. They take the lowest dose and it's still too much for them. They're on like some sub-therapeutic dose according to the doctors, and yet it's giving them the right results. Or they're on super high doses and they're finally getting, like, it's, you never know what's going to happen when you give a native Pisces a pharmaceutical medication. And to be honest, I never know what's going to happen when I give them herbs or flower essence or homeopathy either, because their body responds to those in the same manner. Very sensitive. You just never know. So always, 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 if you are going to try anything on your own as a native Pisces, start with the lowest possible dose that you can do and work your way up from there. If this is like a herb or a supplement, anything, start at the very lowest dose and work your way up. And if you need help with that, please reach out to me, because I would rather you had the guidance of someone who has the ability to help you instead of you trying it yourself and getting discouraged or things becoming worse, right? And then you stop. I would much rather you be able to get it right the first time so you can feel better and get to where you want to go. Herbs that are governed by Pisces then. White sage. This is an essential herb for Pisces. This is because it helps us set our boundaries. It helps us clarify our mind and senses. It helps open up the perception to the subtle invisible world, right? The spirit of this plant really teaches us to balance our spirit with our bodies, which means in turn like walking a spiritual path, but with practical feet. And many, many Native American tribes use this plant, and they have for centuries. Right? They use it for many different things besides just the medicinal purposes, because there are medicinal purposes to sage as well. It's very, very useful for lung ailments and helping you speak your truth, which is also a way of setting a boundary if you think about it. And so they use it for that. And they use it for the spiritual side that we just talked about as well. They use it for cleansing, smudging. They use it for so many different things. Like I can't even come up with all the things they do, because it's a really sacred plant to many Native American tribes. Due to this, the plant is becoming endangered due to overharvesting. So if you're going to use white sage, please either grow your own in your backyard that you can responsibly harvest, find a Native American supplier that you can purchase it from, because you can pretty much guarantee that they have followed ethical ways of harvesting it, and we don't have to worry about the plant being over harvested if we allow the native tribes who this is sacred to do the harvesting, because they are very in tune with the plant worlds and their sacred plants especially, and they just know how to harvest these appropriately and ethically. So please, if you can, support a Native American supplier over anybody else. The next one is calamus, also known as sweet flag. It's actually a traditional Ayurvedic herb, though there's a North American variety as well, so you can use either one. It will get very similar results. It really helps open the crown chakra to allow a greater level of vital force to enter the astral body and then purify the chakra channels, right? So it's known to be purifying both spiritually and physically, which Pisces needs. Their body likes to hold on to metabolic waste products and toxins, right? So this actually helps with liver, gallbladder, and digestive function, which helps the body cleanse the damp stagnation that Pisces tends towards. So it's a very good one for that. Again, if you're going to try any of these, very, very, very small doses to start with. Astragalus, this one is actually a traditional Chinese medicine herb, so it comes from that side of things. It strengthens what they call the Wei Qi, or the protective force of the body. On an energetic level, that would correspond with like our personal limits and boundaries, and on a physiological level, that would be our immune system. And since many Pisces struggle with a well-functioning immune system, this is an important herb to incorporate into your everyday life. This is one that you can literally just drink daily as a tea. It's perfect. But again, start with small doses and work your way up. And if you want help with that, please reach out to me so we can come up with a plan that will work best for you and your body. So, holistic ways to prevent and manage health concerns. As already mentioned, probably 100 times, rest, emotional rest, spiritual rest, physical rest. You need rest more than any other sign of the zodiac. And this is not something you earn. This is something that is just required, right, to regularly maintain your proper health and vitality. So don't be ashamed that you need more rest than others. Some people do, and that's okay. This is vital for your continued health. Also, night shift jobs in Pisces are not usually friends because that disrupts your circadian rhythm and your sleep cycle. And because of that, that will lend to a lot of sickness. So day shift jobs are best. Again, actually working for yourself where you make your own hours is probably best because you can choose your own hours and people to be around. But just know that rest is literally the number one thing. If you're starting to not feel well as a Pisces, go lay down. It's probably all you need is get some rest, be alone for a while, get away from people, do your self-care things, do some meditation, some grounding, some journaling, whatever, and you'll start feeling better very quickly. As mentioned earlier, foot reflexology massage of the feet and the body, but the feet in general, and lymphatic massages are actually really good here to keep your feet happy and your lymph system moving. Dry brushing and rebounding are also good because this keeps your immune system and your lymph system happy because it helps get things through the body. So dry brushing is literally a special brush called a dry brush that you use to literally brush over your skin and your body, right? Helps move that lymph along. And then rebounding is literally just jumping up and down. People get those tiny little trampolines and jump on those, but you can literally just stand and jump. Like you don't need a trampoline, and do that throughout the day, and that actually really helps. Many Pisces do it automatically without thinking. They are very naturally, many of them, just like to constantly be moving a foot or jumping up and down when they're standing. They don't sit still well. It's like they're naturally, like, without even knowing it, trying to get that lymph system moving, right? Maintain good gut health is really imperative here with your opposite sign, Virgo, ruling the small intestine and the pancreas and the liver, so you need to do that. This means plenty of fiber, soluble and insoluble sources, there we go, fermented foods and drinks, veggies, fruits, and probiotics, also so important for your body. As again, most Pisces are very sensitive to medications, natural remedies, herbs, homeopathy, flower essences, vibrational remedies, energy healing. First for any ailment is always best for your body. Your body responds best to remedies that work on a vibrational or otherworldly plane. And just as you spend most of your time there, your body responds best to the remedies that work on that plane. So ground and meditate often. Get rid of energy that is not yours. Herbal baths are really good here too for you. Many Pisces suffer from poor absorption of nutrients from the foods they eat as well, so a very nutrient-dense diet that contains animal products is best for your body. Pisces do not do well on a plant-based diet. You start eating plant-based diet and you'll start feeling like shit. This could be why. Your body is not designed to intake only plants. As a late winter sign, you need a ton of nutrients. You need a lot of sun. So get outside in the sun and get a ton of nutrients into your diet daily, and that will start feeling so much better too. Strength training is also good because it helps build up your vital force as a Pisces. So strength training of any kind, anything that builds up your strength will also build up your immune system strength. And that's it. So overall, Pisces is an amazing sign. It's one of my favorites. I mean, like I said, after all, my partner and my youngest daughter are both Pisces moons. And man, do they have some cool ways of seeing the world. They can see things, hear things, talk to things that I don't even know exist. So, and I mean, I talk to spirits and entities and my spirit guide stuff, but like I don't ever see them while I'm doing it. It's like a completely different way. They're on a world and a realm that I don't think I'll ever be able to reach, and many times they even can astral travel in their dreams. So like super cool. Totally jealous. And I have many Pisces friends that tell me like very similar things. They all have really cool ways of being able to interact with the world. When living in their high expression, they are one of the best healers of the Zodiac, and they do so much good in this world, as well as helping the rest of us to remember there is more to life than just the physical realm, and it's okay to be a highly sensitive person. So I really hope you enjoyed this 12-part series of Medical Astrology 101 and the signs. I will be doing an overview episode, and then we're going to move on to the planets of medical astrology, which will then also be all brought together in an overview episode as well. If you have any questions, you want a reading, or you even want to know if that doctor you picked is right for you or that surgery date is best, email me at info@twinravennaturals.com and let's get you on the books, or DM me through my IG channels at Atla Astrology or at Twin Raven Naturals, and let's discuss what you need and we will get you going. I will talk to you later. Love and light. That's it for another great episode of The Herbal Ire. Tune in next week for more valuable content with your host, Ire Atla.